Welcome to the AA Sports Podcast, minor league feel with major league discussion. Here are your hosts, Alan and Alan.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the AA Sports Podcast. This is episode 3. My name is Alan, and I'm here with my best friend and co-host, Alan.
What's up, everyone? We have a excellent episode for y'all tonight. Welcome to episode 3. But first, we realize you don't know who I am. After 2 episodes, I haven't really introduced myself. So I am 32 years old from North Virginia, just like Alan. Been married for 7 years. I have 2 fur babies, no children. Former chef. I'm now a manager at a hotel. Grew up a huge Mets fan because of, just like Alan, the Norfolk Tides here. We're the Mets farm system for years, and then me and Alan have been best friends for about 27 years.
Wow, that's a pretty long time, man.
Yeah, so I guess first, we got to say congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs for winning the Super Bowl.
Congrats, Chiefs.
So
Pat Mahomes.
Yep, you know, a little place in our heart as Mets fans, a little Mahoney.
And also shout out to the local player, Derek Nadi.
Did his thing and put up some money for adoptions.
That's right.
So we're about a week out from spring training, so the pitchers and catchers report, and we're rolling into some stuff with y'all. But we have breaking news as we went on, getting ready to go on the air and record this episode. We're going to talk about the possibility of Mookie Betts being traded. Apparently, it is now official. Him and David Price are going to the LA Dodgers. For what we know yet, we do not know. Sources as we record is coming out, so we'll update as we try to talk about this.
Yeah, and all we know right now is that the Red Sox are acquiring Alex Verdugo.
Yeah, that's been the main piece people have been hearing. And then now there's rumor is a third team involved. So no one knows what the hell's going on with this trade other than Red Sox have at least Mookie Betts and most likely David Price. And the Red Sox would have to pay a good amount of money for David Price because he's owed $96 million on the next 3 years.
Yeah, man. Let's talk about Mookie Betts. So how do you think this helps out the Dodgers?
It's definitely they're defending West champion. One of the better center fielders. The only thing a lot of people are afraid of is his Mookie Betts stats are because he played in the Yankee and also Fenway, because they're saying his stats are little because they're hitter friendly. Because definitely the West out there, those parks are not hitter friendly whatsoever.
Well, I wanted to talk about it. So now that Mookie's been traded, prior to this happening, I was actually comparing him to another free agent, and their numbers aren't that far off. And I know this guy's been a headache for most people, but Yasiel Puig, so last year, Mookie Betts batted .295 with 29 home runs, 80 RBIs with 176 hits. Yasiel Puig batted .267 with 24 home runs, 84 RBIs with 148 hits. So the batting average is only a .028 difference. Mookie had 5 more home runs, but Yasiel had 4 more RBIs. And then Mookie had 28 more hits. They're almost identical in the stat line. Do you think, now that, Mookie Betts has been picked up by the Dodgers and the Padres are a big team that was also in the running to get Mookie, do you think they're going to go for Puig now?
I would be surprised if they did. You're talking about those closest stats. Does that Padres want to take the risk with Puig, which he could probably do a 1-year rental, prove myself, and go sign elsewhere, because he is still without a job, and Mookie's getting paid $27 million this year, with the numbers so close.
Very, very close. They could almost put up the same numbers this year and be just as close to each other, if not better. Like Yasiel Puig could easily do that, if not better, and Mookie can do the same. Yeah. But what I'm saying is you're not getting that much of a better player stat-wise.
Yeah, and the biggest thing with Yasiel Puig is that he's played in the West. He's with the Dodgers, so he's played at Petco. He knows the stadiums are not that hitter friendly, and I do like the chance to redeem himself, go back out West. Especially he can beat up on the Dodgers for the Padres, and you should not let me go.
All right, so now that Mookie Betts has been off the block, Let's take a look and see if in the future maybe the Padres sign Yasiel Puig. But back to Mookie Betts, because this is the hot topic right now. The way it sits right now, their lineup is full of heavy hitters. You got Mookie Betts, Justin Turner, Max Muncy, Jock Peterson, Cody Bellinger, Corey Seager, Will Smith, Gavin Lux. I mean, these are some pretty good hitters, Alan. What do you think?
Very good hitters. Like, there's rumor of maybe Jock being moved now, so we'll have to wait and see if this happens, if he's in the trade, or if maybe they're just gonna make the move after this trade is official. But that lineup as it sit is definitely going to be, which I can't remember what their stats were before, how favored they were for the World Series. They definitely jumped up. They were missing a pitcher. They got David Price, which he will probably be a solid third starter for them. And then adding Mookie Betts to that lineup is going to be a very dangerous lineup, especially with all those. You have the reigning MVP in that lineup, and Max Muncy didn't have that far less season than what Mr. MVP had. It's going to be a very interesting to watch, especially we'll see what the Padres do to kind of counterbalance this act.
Right. So talking about Jock Peterson, if he does get traded, rumor is that he'll be traded to the Angels. And we've already talked about how we like the Angels and what they've been doing with adding Rendon. They got Mike Trout. They got Ohtani. What if they get Jock Peterson?
They're still missing pitching. If they can somehow get some pitching, I don't know exactly what's out there left for pitching. I feel like, but I think with the moves they feel like they've done, they think they have a solid pitching lineup. They do have some guys who need a comeback season, so maybe they're betting on that. And then adding Jock, which is a very good player, so we'll see if that even happens. So apparently the Red Sox are paying half of David Price's contract.
Okay, that seems fair based on what I've seen so far.
Yeah, which you can $96 million, so you're roughly paying 40 something. So I can take that. So, but remember, they're taking complete $27 million off the books for Mookie, because that's their biggest thing. They want to get under that luxury tax because they were up there between these two deals. So, and then very interesting, and they are saying Twins are involved, and likely includes pitching.
Okay,
so I wonder if that's prospects then. God, man, this is interesting to start recording this, talking about this. So, but yeah. But, Red Sox wanted pitching. That's the rumor. I remember the offseason, possibly where Mookie gets traded to the Mets was we have pitching that we could trade because they need pitching. Because after Chris Sale, there's really no one in the farm system that's near close to help that team. And the new GM, still no manager there, but I think he established that they need pitching. They have hitters. They need pitching, especially the AL East.
Right. If you want to compete, you got to have pitching. I mean, you can't sign on to a manager and give him a team with no pitching. One guy's not going to get it done. Not in today's game, especially not in the East.
Especially when Chris Sale took a step back with all his injuries at the end of the season and stuff. So I'm worried they're probably not banking on him. Maybe he'll bounce back, but they need some depth.
Maybe he has some limited innings. Who knows?
Yeah. So, but yeah. So, like I said, it's kind of a risk because Mookie's only on contract for this year. He's a unrestricted free agent, especially when Red Sox apparently offered him $300 million. He turned it down and countered with like $400 million over 10 years, like $420.
Right, that's crazy. So, I mean, I guess he really believes in his talent, and he's definitely betting on himself this year. I mean, we'll see what happens after that.
Now, if he wins MVP again, be MVP in 2 out of 3 years.
He might get $400 million after that.
Then you might try to be that first 400 over 10 years. So it'd be very interesting. We'll see what happens. Like, only time will tell. We'll see exactly what comes to this thing if we get any more.
Yeah, if we get any more updates.
Hold on.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
Dodgers are sending Kenta Maeda to the Twins. Apparently, they're getting a pitcher back from the Twins.
Okay, well, Maeda is a pretty good pitcher. If you ask me.
Maeda is a solid third, possibly bullpen. They're wondering what they're going to use with him. That's what a lot of people are thinking after with Ryu left, that Maeda might not come out the pen no more, might become that third starter. Now with Price there, it only makes sense to move him. Wow. All bunch of players getting traded a week before they're supposed to report.
Better change those plans, boys.
Right? I hope you didn't sign that lease or that house for a month.
That's fine. They can afford to get off it.
Right.
I'm sure the team will take care of it if they needed to.
So yeah, so when we get the total deals, we'll express more. But yeah,
It looks like the players are even putting in their input. Walker Buehler just says "ha ha 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 ha" on Twitter about the trade.
he's probably stoked that he'll never have to face him. So only time will tell with this deal. Once we get the total, what prospects are going, because with the Padres possibly trying to get Mookie Betts, the biggest thing was money, because Will Myers was apparently the centerpiece to go there, which young talent, but he's owed money, but they didn't want money back. So this way, it was Dodgers have prospect, don't have to give money up. It was more Red Sox wanted. They didn't want to take on money. So last about week, Dodgers got the forefront and finally got it completed.
Well, you better believe that we're going to be watching the Dodgers close this year.
Yep, because like you said, especially with Mookie's last year, like this is going to be that not no trade like 2 years ago when they traded for Machado for that late season push. You're going to have Mookie for the whole year now. So it's definitely interesting to see and watch. So
all right. Well, like I said, if we get any more updates, we'll keep you guys posted. But let's move on.
Yeah.
Another piece of news that we came across today is that the Astros have finally hired a new GM.
Yeah. James Click. So apparently he's been a 14-year member of the Tampa Bay organization, which we all know the Red Sox GM came from the organization. He was personnel. So, but he's been the vice president of baseball operations. So,
yeah, I mean, the guy graduated from Yale. I'm assuming he's a numbers guy because he used to write for Baseball Prospectus. They're devoted to sabermetrics and analysts of baseball. He, like you said, he interned with the Rays in 2005. He got hired in 2006, and as recently he's been the VP of baseball operations there. You know what I'm thinking? The Rays are in trouble because they lost 2 front office people this offseason. They lost Shane Bloom to the Red Sox.
Yep.
And now they just lost James Click. So, I mean, it's pretty bad when your front office is losing its talent.
Well, all that talent and analytics that they had in the draft and getting these players that trades, or it's like they definitely know what they're doing. So that's why last year before Mets hired Brody, I wanted him like that. He was the finalist. I was like, I want him. Analytics, Tampa Bay, they know what they're doing.
Yeah. I mean, obviously they're producing.
And I was shocked when they picked Brody. I was like,
they're producing great talent. You're right. Their guys
So
are going to better,
that was
bigger,
last
better
job,
things.
and then when name it for the Red Sox, I'm like, they better get him because this guy is smart. He's in their division. You've seen what he's done with that team with that low payroll, almost knock out the Astros last year.
Yeah.
So he definitely knows how to build a team, and they've always had one of the better farm systems. Tampa Bay, like they know how to draft. Those late rounds get those deals. So I think Astros know with the stability of what Tampa Bay have done. I think he'd be easily. So with him and Dusty, I think is a solid bounce back, take this team on the roll. And then, like I said, with Dusty's contract, he can decide if he wants to keep Dusty or he can move on next year.
So what you're saying is that James and Dusty might click?
They might just click, huh?
All right.
Then we got another little piece of news. One of my favorite players in recent history decided to call it quits at a wonderful career. Curtis Granderson decided to hang him up. Former Yankee, Met, Tigers, and Miami Marlins decided to call it a career. I know we've had the pleasure of meeting him once at a Mets Nationals game. We got him sign some stuff for us.
Yeah, that was with the 7 Line, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we went to a 7 Line game, and Granderson, me and Alan, we were big autograph collectors. We headed down to the third base side and was trying to get all the players to sign autographs for us, and Granderson was so nice that he made sure he signed every single person who wanted his autograph. He signed something for them.
Yeah, great guy. He's always been humbled, like his charity foundations and stuff. He's not gone from the game. Yes, he might be playing, but best believe, like he was even was it last postseason or the season before, he did commentating. So don't be surprised if you see him on ESPN Sunday night.
Well, he's definitely got the personality for it.
Yeah, like he's going to be around this game for a while. So we'll see what happens with that. But not a bad career.
Yeah, not a bad career. I mean, last season he kind of stumbled. He batted just 183 last season, 12 home runs, 34 RBIs. But like you said, for his career, he batted 250, 344 home runs, 937 RBIs. He played for 7 teams. He was a 3-time All-Star, Silver Slugger Award winner, Roberto Clemente Award recipient, and even, like you said, as much as he does with the community, he was a 4 times Marvin Miller Man of the Year. And that's given to those whose on-field performance and contributions to his community inspire others to higher levels of achievement.
Yeah, like all-around great guy. Like the stuff he's done, like Jackie Robinson, he really represented the cleats. I remember when he was with the Mets, were very nice, of course, with the Mets being closest to where the Brooklyn Dodgers played. So it took something in, and then he always loved playing at home. But like I said, with a 47 WAR for his career, it's not a bad. Of course, he's probably not going to get in the Hall of Fame.
But it's a solid career. It's respectable for sure.
But like you said, he loved the game. He's always had a smile on his face.
That smile is contagious.
So, like I've been saying, like you got to do your dream job, play baseball and then made some money where you have a career, and then he's going to do something else. So, like I said, congratulations, Grandison, on a great career.
Yeah, Grandy, nothing but best wishes and good luck in the future.
So, then other small little news broke today. The Philadelphia Phillies decided they're going to retire Roy Halladay's jersey on the anniversary of one of his best games ever, his perfect game.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty nice of them. Roy, if you don't know, he died in a plane crash that he was flying himself. According to people, he was showing off. But, I don't know. I wasn't there, but it's just a sad thing to happen. I mean, his career record, he was a 203 winner, 203 games won, 105 losses, lifetime ERA of 3.38. He was elected in the Hall of Fame in his first time on the ballot with 85.4% of the vote in 2019.
Yeah. I remember I went up opening day to DC, and it was actually his first game as a Philly. And I actually sat, I think it was 6 rows behind home plate. Nasty. I'm watching, oh, this is not even right.
Oh, yeah.
Especially, this is when Nationals weren't good at all. I think the highlight pregame was Obama threw out the first pitch, and then Ryan Zimmer got his Silver Slugger and Gold Glove. Other than that, that was all they needed to celebrate, because then they didn't have no one. And then the starter for Nationals was no one. And you saw Roy Halladay just put it to him. I think he had 10 strikeouts. I'm just this guy's going to be nasty.
Yeah, just to tell you guys how filthy this dude is. I mean, his career WAR is a 64.3. The Hall of Fame standards average for starting pitchers is a 73.9. However, his WAR is better than Greinke, Verlander, Santana, Kershaw, CC Sabathia. So, the dude can pitch.
Yeah. So, he definitely, I'm glad that, he didn't go in as a certain player, because both Blue Jays and Phillies, that was his career. And it was sad that he did pass away before his Hall of Fame, and they did the speech. And same thing is what's going to probably happen to Kobe this year. Since he's passed away, someone's got to take that speech, and it's going to be a little sad where we can't celebrate career. It's kind of mourning. So it kind of took the Hall of Fame down a little bit. But, great career and very classy move by the Phillies. So can't wait to watch that and see what goes on with that.
All right. So the last piece of news we have before we get into our top 10s is the Red Sox and their interviewing process.
Yeah. They're, like we said, we are a week away from pitchers and catchings report. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, these guys are reporting.
Yeah, man, it's on.
And Red Sox are still without a head boss. So there's been rumors around a couple players. One right before we started recording, the A's quality control coach, Mark Colsey, is now out. He did interview. And then other person I've been hearing is Diamondbacks bench coach Luis Urite. He came up through the organization. Everyone loves him. So he was quality control. He was actually AAA's manager, and then he brought up to bench coach last year. So I can see where he's been established, so they can get a possibility. So, and then you heard about anyone else?
Yeah, I heard that there's a possibility they might hire from within. I got 2 names: Carlos Feebles and Ron Ronicky. Feebles is just 43 years old. He's been in the organization for 13 years, managed over 900 minor league games before being promoted to the major league staff. He's a former major league infielder, managed Mookie Betts, Jackie Bradley Jr., Devers. A lot of the players expressed interest. They like the guy. If you want to, he said that if you want to manage in the big leagues, this is the team that you want to do it. The Boston Red Sox. Feebles said that in the weekend meetings. And the other guy, Ronicky, he's 63, managed the Brewers from 2011 to 2015. He led Milwaukee to 342 and 331 record. So, it's not a bad. I mean, he's in there. He's a veteran voice. You don't know. I mean, I don't know where their head's at. I don't know if they want to hire from within or if they want to go out of the box.
Definitely, I think they're going to go a little bit younger with that team.
Veritek?
Yeah. I feel like him or the Luis from Diamondbacks, because they're both younger, and I feel like with the GM being younger, he probably wants something that's probably more analytic, like someone that's with him that they can talk numbers and do a game plan. So, but they have to decide something by the end of this week. Maybe because now this trade's out the way, they can focus on who they want to be the helm, and then they need to fly down to Florida to get this thing set up.
Right, man. So I think all their energy has been focused on getting Betts, moving him. So now that that's taken care of, they can refocus and spend their energy on looking for the right guy for the job.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure the phone calling like between Padres, Dodgers, and maybe someone else who's out there trying to just check in on about Mookie. He's probably been real busy taking phone calls about this trade instead of trying to interview people. So I'm almost certain now if this is going to be finalized tonight, hopefully the next 2 or 3 days they pick a manager and
and maybe they already have someone. They just don't want to say who it is until this deal has been finalized.
There's a good possibility that they're down to 2 people and they're deciding now, like, okay, this is out of the way. Let's put these 2 people on a board and figure out who we want. So, and then there's a slight news rumor out there, unfortunately, about our Mets. New owner might not be happening. Apparently, the Wilpons did something, changed the deal. That's our hopeful
we're not surprised.
New owner is apparently now backing out the deal, or it's stalled, or it's on life support.
It's on life support. Yeah, he might be pulling out. He don't like something that they changed, and they always want to do something to hurt the Mets.
There's definitely different deals out there that people are hearing. Maybe it's something about the TV deal he wants included now. Wilpons wanted to keep that. Then people hearing that he wanted to make changes right away. Wilpons wants to stick to the 5-year plan. We don't know. There's apparently an NDA. Steve is not saying a word. Wilpons said they cannot comment on it. Is what their official statement when Kent Rosenthal asked them. So the rumor was it was supposed to be hopefully finalized opening day. We're talking, a little over a month away. So maybe this is not the first time with the Wilpons. They did this back in 2011 with a billionaire. Deals were done, and they decided to change something last minute, and they called them out for it.
Right. They're getting a track record with this.
If you want to trade the team, sell the team because you need money to do other stuff, sell the fucking team. But, hey, what can you do about it? Mets fans.
Yeah, man. If we get any more information, we'll definitely let you guys know.
All right, so we're now getting clarity of the trade before we go into our top 10. So what everyone's hearing is Red Sox are getting prospect Alex Verdugo from Dodgers, and they're getting prospect pitcher Barista Garitido.
Yep, we just ruined that name for sure.
From the Twins. Dodgers, of course, are getting Mookie Betts, David Price, and cash from the Red Sox. And then Twins are getting Kenya Medea. So that deal's done. And then breaking news. So Jock Peterson is heading to the Angels for Luis Rengifo. Apparently, he was a rookie last year. He's a second baseman, shortstop. Not good numbers, but he is young, so hopefully they're having an upside. But what I think more so is it's a cash more deal to dump cash, because with taking on $27 million this year from Mookie and then the David Price difference.
So it sounds like to me that the Angels got the better end of this deal.
Okay, it can't be money. Oh, no, it says 2016. I was about to say. I'm like that much money, you got to think, like, what? All right.
Well, all I know is that the Angels have now bettered their team.
Okay, so Jock is scheduled to make 30-year arbitration. Has he not? Jock hasn't done his negotiations yet for this year? Are they still battling? He's third year arbitration. He's a free agent 2021. So this is the last year of his contract.
Which is probably why they were able to give up, somebody who's not worth the trade in value at this moment, because he is in his last year of the deal.
So he's gonna be making something. Jock Peterson, well, he made last season made $5 million. So it's probably some eating money, but so it's very interesting. So if you think about the outfield, you put Mookie at center field. Then in right field will be Bellinger. Left field was where Jock played. So who on their team can play? Well, would AJ Pollock and Chris Young kind of both do left field then now? I don't know.
They might.
It's very interesting. So yeah. So pretty much the deal is done. So we don't know if everyone's done, because now we'll wait to see if Puig or anyone gets signed now. Now we know Mookie is now moved.
Yeah, so what does that do to the Angels, though? I mean, you got Mike Trout in center. I'm assuming Justin Upton's going to be the starting left fielder, and then does that mean Jock
play
Peterson
right?
can play right? And that what does that do with Goodwin, though?
Man, this is some interesting stuff. So yeah. So ultimately, Red Sox got 2 top 100 prospects. They got rid of some cash, which they wanted to. So you're talking about, let's see, what's that? Almost 30. So 40, they saved almost $45 million this year. So that's going to get them under the luxury tax probably. So we'll see what happens. But I bet they're not, I don't know, what do they think they're doing?
Well, they just lost their manager and, everything else. And maybe they're in rebuild mode.
Right, maybe the GM decided to do it. So, all right, let's get ready for our top 10. But first, I want you to talk to you about something. All right, everyone. So we're about to break down our top 10 positions this week of our next 3 positions. The rest of the infield, we have our second baseman, shortstop, and third base. We're going to start off with our top 10 second basemen. Alan, who do you have at your 10th position?
All right, man. So at second base, number 10, I have Keston Hiura.
All right, very nice. I actually have him on my list a little higher at number 5.
Yeah. So this kid, last year, he was a rookie. He's just 23 now. Last season, he batted .303, 19 home runs, 49 RBIs. He was sent down during the season to AAA, but came back in June. If he gets a full year, he's definitely a top first baseman or second baseman in my opinion. Let's just hope he doesn't have a sophomore slump.
Yeah, I think the reason why I have him number 5 on my list is the average. Being a second baseman, a lot of other people did have a little less average, and the little time he did get better. So that's why I'm hoping for the next step this year. Full season, he'll do very well. So at 10, I have Luis. I hate butchering people's names, but Reyes from the Twins. He had 4 home runs, 20 RBIs. He batted .334 and had a 1.8 WAR. He had very not many at bats during the season. Rookie towards the end of the year, and with a .334, I couldn't complain that. He's probably a very young guy. We'll see what he does with a full season with the Twins. And the Twins, in that division, is very wondering, especially now with the trades that happen. They got a pitcher, which they kind of needed. So they're a younger team. So we'll see what this guy can do with a full season.
Yeah, man. It's funny is you say that is, I'm looking at my list that I've been making, and the one thing that's been constant is that the players on my list are pretty young.
Yeah, you could definitely tell. You're seeing other players that weren't great players. They're good, decent players. They're signing minor league deals right now. So they definitely tell that we're doing a transition period in the MLB right now, younger. faster.
The next generation.
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. So I'll go with my number 9. I have Mike Ustaka from the Cincinnati Reds.
Okay.
35 home runs, 87 RBIs, the average 254, 3.2 WAR last year. Of course, it was with Milwaukee, but when he signed the New Year deal with the Reds are making moves this year with that division kind of being up for grabs. Do you have him on your list at all?
I do not.
Okay. I mean, he was a solid last year. So that's why he got it at number 9. Like, he's still around. He signed a multi-year deal this year.
Yeah.
So he definitely still has talent, and he did bet on himself with those short contracts in Milwaukee.
Okay.
And he sees potential, I guess, the Reds.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Reds, I don't know what they're going to be, but we'll see.
Yeah.
My number 9, I have Kevin Biggio. Ruined his name too.
Yep. I actually have him at number 8.
Okay, so we're not too far off.
Yep.
He plays for the Blue Jays. Just playing in 100 games, he batted .234 with 16 home runs, 48 RBIs. I mean, it was good enough to finish 5th in Rookie of the Year voting. I believe he's going to make an even bigger jump this season, and his production category is going to be a lot better, in my opinion.
Yeah, the biggest thing with me was that average. He definitely needs to get it up. But, with that short time, that team is getting younger with Vlad Jr. and all them going to be built, and then add Ryu.
Yep,
it's going to get that very interesting, especially with now Red Sox trading Mookie. So they're possibly the 3rd team in the division now if Red Sox decide to go rebuild, because Tampa Bay they got that wild card last year, so they'll be right back in it. They didn't really lose too many people. So you can probably see they're on that transition. They might try to fight for a wild card. We know Orioles are completely rebuilding, so they're decided they're going to be the 5th. So if Red Sox do decide to rebuild and they start trading more players, I can see Blue Jays of being there at 3rd place, possibly trying to take 2nd wild card.
So do you think that division's a lock? Do you think Yankees have it locked up and everybody's playing for a wild card spot? Or
there's got to be major injuries happening with the Yankees team, because what they did, they lost Game 7 to the Astros, and they had the talent. They got Cole this year, which they needed that ace in that lineup. I kind of see if they don't win that division, they had something like that's got to be a terrible thing. So,
all right, well, let's move on to number 8.
So, like I said, I just said my 8. So,
All
who
right.
do you have your number 8?
My number 8, I have Jonathan Villar for the Marlins.
All right, I do not have him on my list.
Okay, I mean, I'm not surprised. Like I said, he does play for the Marlins. I think he's coming off arguably his best season so far. He's another guy with a good year on a bad team. He batted .274. He had 24 home runs, 73 RBIs. I just think he needs a better supporting cast to make any more gains this season. That's why I have him so high up on my list at number 8. If he gets somebody surrounding him, like I said, his numbers could jump off the page.
Yeah, only time will tell with that team. We'll see with the prospects coming up if they can make some moves. Yeah, I feel like they're a young team in transition, so definitely see how the prospects worked out the next year or two.
I don't expect the Marlins to do anything this year in our division, though. I mean, Phillies, Braves, Mets.
No, they're
You're not
definitely
competing.
playing the long game,
Right.
in our division, especially where our division's looking. They're definitely stacking prospects with all these trades they did the last couple of years, and betting on they're going to work out. Hopefully, that's what Jeter's betting on. So we'll see if it works out for him. So here you have your number 7.
My number 7, I got Brandon Lowe for the Rays.
All right, I had him at number 6.
Okay, so yeah, we're pretty tight on that. That's not bad. What do you know about the kid?
17 home runs, 51 RBIs, 270 average. He had a 2.9 WAR last year. Definitely one of the better players on that Rays team.
Yeah, I like the guy. He's out of our hometown. He's from Newport News, Virginia.
Yep.
He finished 3rd in the Rookie of the Year voting, and he even made the All-Star team last year. That's pretty big.
That infield is kind of like you said, they've always had one of the better farm system in the league, and they have pitching. They made great trades, like Pirates giving up Austin Meadows and I forgot the other pitcher, but they're all stars. They one of the guys I have on my shortstop, Willie. Oh wow, I hate butchering people's names. Maydays.
So you think that we just talked about how this is the division for the Yankees to win, but with the Rays being so good at their jobs, bringing kids up from the farm system, do you think they're sneaky good this year?
So the biggest thing is going to be their other pitching prospects. They had Brett Hollywell, who of course was the MVP of the Futures game 2 years ago. He had Tommy John, so he missed up all last year. So depending on where he is in his rehab, he can definitely make that jump into because with, they had technically not last year, but the year before Cy Young winner, they had other All-Stars and then Charlie Martin. Like, it's definitely a strong team. So like I said, if they can get them click right, the prospects come up ready. And it wouldn't be surprised if they're in the hunt, they make that trade that push them over the edge at trade deadline, because they don't have a lot of money. Like they're not in salary, so they can make that trade to take on that high dollar to get them over that hump to get that playoff push. So that was your number 7, right?
Right.
My number 7 was Colton Wong of the Cardinals.
All right, I got Colton Wong as my number 6.
Okay, so
we flip-flop.
Yeah, we flip-flop. So, 11 home runs, 59 RBIs, 285 average, a 4.7 WAR. He's definitely your second baseman where he don't have power, but he hits for average. RBIs probably could be better, but it's probably where he's hitting the lineup with the Cardinals.
Right, and I like the guy because he's great defensively. He won a Gold Glove last season. He even finished 20th in the MVP voting. Yeah. Another thing I like about the kid, he's out of Hawaii, and I heard that as a kid he used to cut down trees with an axe 2 hours a day to gain strength, and he worked out in a batting cage daily.
Well, I guess in Hawaii you gotta find stuff like that to do to use the nature. But yeah, great kid. He's definitely the younger guys with the Cardinals. With Zuna leaving, who knows what that lineup's going to be? Who's going to replace him there? So maybe takes that step where maybe gets a little extra power, gets more RBIs, maybe move him up in the lineup. Only time will tell us see what that manager does. They're a few games from going to the World Series. They did end up losing to the Nationals in the NL Championship Series. So, but we'll see what they do this year. Second year with that manager. So
all right,
you already talked about my number 6. So who's your number 6?
That was Colton.
Yours number 6 is right. Yeah.
Yep. So you had Brandon at number 6.
So then we're going to talk about number 5 now.
All right.
Which I already talked about mine.
Okay. Well, my number 5 is a guy that I really like. He's a Kansas City Royal, Whit Merrifield.
Yep. I do not have him on my list.
Well, just to give you a little background, Whit is super mad that the Astros were cheating and stealing signs this year. Oh, he called it worse than steroids.
Isn't he the one that was mad that Tuve took his spot in the All-Star game because he should have won?
He's upset, man.
Yeah.
So and he has good reason to be upset. He led the league in hits last year with 206.
Wow.
I mean, he can do it all. He did it all last season. He batted .302, 16 home runs, 74 RBIs. He even had 20 stolen bases to add on top of that. Like I said, man, he's all around a good player. 4.0 WAR last season. His career WAR is a 15.1. But he was an all-star last season, and like I said, I like him because he's a threat to steal bases, and you don't see that many people stealing bases anymore. I like it.
I think probably I didn't put him on my list was with the Royals, they're not getting they're fully rebuilt, new manager this year, their old manager retired, they're fully committed to rebuild. So smaller market, they're rebuilding. It's just like the Orioles, you don't hear about them because they're rebuilding. They're not going to play them on TV. And
right. So I get it, but
yeah.
It's just like with DeGrom. I mean, individually he's great.
Yeah.
So I'm putting him on my list.
Yeah.
I know he might. Not
I understand
have
why he's there. Yeah.
But,
We'll see if he can recreate it this year, and then he's going to get that talk. So,
so who do you got?
So at my number 4, since we were talking about my number 5, I have Jose Altuve.
This is funny because he is also my number 4.
Okay. So yeah, 31 home runs, 74 RBIs, just shy of that 300 batting average at 298. And then his WAR last year was a little back from previous but 3.7, all-star, but the whole cheating scandal is definitely going to see what this guy does this year.
And this is why I have him at number 4. He would have been higher on my list, but The whole stealing situation, it makes me hard to look at Altuve and wonder, is he as good as his stats say he is? When you compare his numbers hitting at his home park versus away, it's like night and day. I mean, I know he's talented. He's a good player, but, is he as great as his stats lead me on to believe? Only time will tell.
Yeah, only will. I really hope he didn't benefit from the whole cheating scandal. That's why his career is what it is.
He better not come out here batting 240, and you know what I'm saying? Like, this just makes me wonder. In the back of my mind, it's a big thing.
Yeah. So, but yeah, like all around, his hard work has paid off. To become one of the better second basemen in the league. So only time will tell. See what the cheating scandal does with him and his career. So at number 3, so my top 3 was very hard to toss around. I put this guy at number 3 because he had a great year, but previous years were nothing like this year.
Okay.
That was DJ LeMahieu.
All right. I also have him at my number 3.
Because if you look at it, especially in Colorado, you think the ball sails and stuff. And then he gets in Yankees, became a damn power hitter.
Right. Because everybody who puts on the pinstripes is a power hitter. Just look at his surrounding cast, though. How do you not put up good numbers when everybody around you is doing it? It's just like you just feed off that energy.
Yeah. 26 home runs. His career before that was 15.
Right, and he batted .327.
Exactly. His best year was .275 before this.
Right.
So you're telling me you increased 50 points in your batting average by just going play at Yankee Stadium?
I know, it's nuts. And that's why I was, hesitant to put him up here so high, because this is his only good year.
Yeah, he's been a solid second baseman always in Colorado. When they signed him, okay, solid signing. He's a pretty decent second baseman. And then this year he goes out with all the power that Yankees give out in that damn stadium.
Right. Let's look at these numbers one more time. Just imagine. Don't put him in the Yankees team. Just if you see a guy who's batting .327, 26 home runs, and 102 RBIs, dude can rake.
Yeah, his WAR was 6 because of what he did at the plate this year.
Yeah, like you said, his numbers were decent in Colorado, but they really exploded when he became a Yankee.
Yeah, so it was I got to see him repeat.
Yeah, I mean, so what? Last year he won a Silver Slugger, selected as an All-Star. He finished 4th in MVP voting.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to look for him to continue this dominance, especially if everybody on the team is healthy. Giancarlo's back. Judge is out there doing his thing.
If he
everybody around him's crushing.
Close to put up those numbers again. That's why I see the Yankees as almost a lock of that division. If he falls off, then okay, then what happened last year? But man, those numbers from the 2 previous years is just crazy.
Right. And just think about all the other big names in the pinstripes right now. If they're all doing something similar to this, it's a lot.
I think how good of a year he had, I felt like it's why was it Gleyber Torres went to the Philly? They didn't sign him because he was the second baseman. But what DJ did, it was oh well, we don't need him. So yeah. So we'll see if DJ, because I think he only did a 2-year deal, so this is the other year of his contract. So if he has another year like this, then he's going to be talking money come next contract.
And I don't know if the Yankees are going to be able to afford him. They still got to pay Giancarlo Stanton.
Yeah, so, all right. Well, then if we have the same person, number 3, then number 2, I have Ozzy Albies.
Yeah, I got Ozzy Albies as well, man. We might have the same top 3.
Yeah. Actually, top 4. But yeah. But, this young stud, watched him come up through the ranks in Atlanta. Very quick, 24 home runs, 86 RBIs, 295 average. He had a 4.6 WAR. He's been consistent. He was an All-Star last year,
2018.
Yeah. So he definitely has talent. He's definitely been one of the bright spots with that young talent in Atlanta.
Yeah, man. Like you said, he's young. He's just 23 years old. He's establishing himself as a player to watch this decade.
Yes.
Last season he won a Silver Slugger award. He's top 5 in the league in hits. He had 189 hits last season. I like him a lot. He should be an All-Star this season as well. He's absolutely a difference maker for his team. Like I said, watch out for the Braves. They're coming up strong.
Oh, yeah. And the funny thing, I remember watching this, it was the first time he came up to AAA here in Norfolk. He played a couple games before they sent him back down. But when he was here, it was the first time he came up to AAA, he was 17.
Wow.
I'm excuse me, and he was short. I'm thinking this kid's in high school and he's playing AAA baseball, and I'm he's gonna be something.
Like I said, this decade, watch out for him.
So yeah, so what he's done finally when he got his chance, he got a September call up, and then the next year he got the All-Star game. So, and his numbers weren't far off from the year before. So, if he keeps being consistent, he's going to be here for a long time.
All right. So with that, we both must have the same number one. Let me just make sure. I have Ketel Marte.
Correct.
All right. He comes out from the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, the power he has there at 32 home runs, the 92 RBIs, and then the 329 average.
Right. I say this about a lot of guys, but this guy can rake.
Yeah, and like we said, and then with Diamondbacks, they're a younger team. They're getting their stuff together. He's definitely their main piece with that team. And for second baseman, hitting 30 home runs, almost 100 RBIs is very well.
Batting damn near 330.
Yeah, you have power, you're not striking out, which most times nowadays is if you have power, you must strike out a lot. But if your average is anywhere near 300 and you have power, it's good. But you're over 300.
Yeah, if you're over, yeah, right. Like
All-star.
you said, most guys with power are supposed to be Mark Reynolds.
Yeah.
Last year he was named a starter in the All-Star game. And what I really like about him is that he's a switch hitter. He can do damage from both sides of the plate. His WAR is a 6.9 last season. I think this is a guy you can build a team around.
Yeah. I think because what he's done the last couple of years, that's why Goldsmith got traded. They got a prospect. They wanted that catcher. They got Carson Kelly out of it. So you need a catcher. He's that power for that lineup. So it's very interesting to see what this team does. They add Mad Bum, a couple other pieces. Now you go still gonna be hard for them with Dodgers getting Mookie now. So we'll see what this. They are there towards the end, fighting for that wild card spot. We'll see if the team can put it together and make another run. I feel like wild cards will be very interesting this year.
Well, it always is, man. All right.
So let's go over our top 10.
Top 10 shortstop. Oh, you want to go back over the top 10?
Yeah. Okay. So second base, I had Luis Alvarez from the Twins, Mike Moustakas from the Reds, Calvin Biggio from the Blue Jays, Colton Wong from the Cards, Brandon Lowe from the Rays, and then Kinston Hirita from the Brewers. And of course, we have the top four. So who's your other?
Okay, yeah. So number 10, I had Keston Hiura. Number 9, I had Calvin Biggio. 8, Jonathan Villar. Number 7, I had Brandon Lowe. Number 6 was Colton Wong. Number 5, I had Whit Merrifield. And then I think we both had the same top 4.
Yep. So we had Altuve, DJ Mayu,
Ozzy Albies, and Ketel Marte.
Yeah, so top 10. So
all right.
Not bad, so we agree there almost halfway through the list.
Yeah, so, if any of you guys out there have anything different or you think your top 10 was something that we missed, let us know.
Yeah. So next we're going to get to the shortstops. So very interesting, some of these shortstops. I guess my top 10 weren't too bad to do. So at number 10, I actually have Ahmed Rosario from the New York Mets.
Okay, great. I don't have Ahmed on my team, on my list, but he's a great player. I like him a lot.
He definitely made that step this past year. 15 home runs, 72 RBIs. It was way more than what he's had in the past. His average wasn't too bad. He got it up. He had 287. His WAR was only 1.8, but he's definitely finally making that step.
Right, and it's just unfortunate that he's being overshadowed by these other great players on the team like Pete Alonso and Jeff McNeil, Michael Conforto. You just named somebody, Jacob deGrom, Noah Syndergaard. He's on a great team.
Yeah, he was definitely always been a good prospect. And then the biggest thing now is Mets have a very top shortstop prospect. So the wonder is he going to be moved, or is he going to go to second base eventually? And then they bring the other guy short, or he goes second. So it's going to be very interesting to see what he does in his career. Is he going to be moved, or is someone else going to move to a different position? Because, like I said, if next year the DH does come to the NL, then that's going to open up a possible spot. So we'll see what happens with his career. So who do you have at number 10?
All right, man. So my number 10, I got Jorge Polanco for the Twins.
All right, I have him at my number 7 position.
All right, so Polanco, last season he batted 108. He had 186 hits last season. His WAR was a 5.7. His stat line, he had a 295 batting average, 22 home runs, 79 RBIs, made the All-Star team. He was in the MVP discussion. He's just 25 years old, so his prime years are coming up.
Yeah, like all these young young players with the Twins are definitely now with that trade that we talked about earlier. Are they making, like we said, Cleveland? We don't know what they're doing. So I feel like that's why Minnesota is definitely, and White Sox are like, it's possibly our time to get this division.
Yeah, I like what the White Sox are doing.
We said, Twins did win, I think 100 games last year. And, of course, they got swept by the Yankees. So they did win the division last year. But I think they're trying to get better because, you win 100 games, but you lose in the playoffs. Okay, what can we do? So they have a young team. Like I said, with him, you can't ask for no much for a younger guy to hit almost 300, the 22 home runs. So definitely see what his career will do with that organization. So that was your 10. So at number 9, I have Trey Turner.
All right. I got Trey Turner at number 6 on my list.
Okay. So with Trey Turner, 19 home runs with the defending World Series champions, 57 RBIs, just shy of that 300 batting average at 298. His WAR was at 2.4. Very, very fast on the field, plays and running around those bases.
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching this. Me and Alan have been watching this guy since he was in the minor leagues. We even got to get his autograph when he played here in Norfolk. Dude is a monster. He's always a threat to steal the base, like you said. He's been recognized as one of the fastest runners in the league. And, as a result, he was the National League stolen base leader in 2018. And he hit for the cycle twice. So, and now he can call himself a World Series champion. So, I love watching this guy play. Trey Turner is really good, really good.
He's very good. And then he's talking about even taking signing extension at his young career. He's for even a discount.
So he wants to be a lifer too.
He possibly, maybe,
man,
some of that organization people are liking
this
there.
This is crazy because, I get it. Brian Zimmerman, I mean, he was the face of the organization. He's been there forever. It just made sense for him to stay there. But Strasburg made sure he got re-signed a deal there. And now, like you said, Trey Turner wants to stay there. So I'm wondering what was wrong with Bryce.
I don't know. Like, I think he wanted the money and maybe, I don't know. I think more, maybe he's realizing after seeing the World Series, Trey did, like, it's sometimes not about the money. Maybe we can try to get, like, he is young. He can do, sponsorship deals and stuff where he can make up that money. He's thinking that.
Right, for sure. I mean, and to go for Harper, I mean, I'm not taking nothing away from him. I mean, I think the Phillies are going to be a tough team this year.
Like he wanted, Nationals offered $300 million over 10 years. He wanted more. They didn't budge. But, with Trey Turner, only time will tell. He's been right there consistent. So
I bet the GM and for the Nationals felt great after they won that World Series. I didn't need Harper to do this.
Man, that's So that was my number 9. You have him at, you said?
I have him at number 6.
6. So who is your number 9?
My number 9 is Corey Seager of the Dodgers.
Okay. He did not make my list.
Okay. So, last season he batted .272 with 19 home runs, 87 RBIs. He hit 44 doubles, and he did all this while missing a month of play.
Yeah, because I remember that's the biggest thing is why they got Machado the year before, because he was injured and the rumors them. So,
yeah. So, he was an all-star in his first 2 seasons, followed, by injuries in the next 2. So, assuming he can stay healthy, I'm expecting decent numbers from this guy, Just got to be healthy.
With that lineup, who knows how that thing's going to play out now. Now we know Jock is definitely going. So, man, it's going to be very fun trying to put that lineup together this spring. Like, who's going to bat where.
It's a good problem to have, though.
Yeah. But yeah, he's definitely a bright spot. He came back, had a decent season. So, depending on where he is in that lineup, how he's going to bat, who's like the RBIs could go up, could go down. Because you have technically back at least 2 of the, one Mookie got AL MVP 2 years ago. You had the defending NL MVP in your lineup. It's kind of hard to say that you might be thrown at if you're in front of these people. So
yeah, I mean lineup full of talent for sure.
Very loaded.
All right. So who do you have at number 8?
So at number 8, I had Tim Anderson from the White Sox.
Me too. So
very talented player. Seen him. A lot of these guys, I realized when I put on a list, I was like, oh, he came through Norfolk. I watched him play. It's very interesting. That's why I like being a AAA town. Like met Tim Anderson once, but, he had a real good year this year. 18 home runs, 56 RBIs, batted .335 and a 4.0 WAR this year.
335, man, that's amazing.
And like we said, the White Sox is that uppercoming team, and definitely he's going to be added to the lineup this year with them.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have a ton of accolades yet, but he did win the AL batting championship last season. And like I said before, I like where the White Sox are going with his talent, like Moncada, Abreu, Kopech, Giolito. I'm excited to watch this team play, and with Tim Anderson hitting like he does, who knows, man? The White Sox are definitely in the discussion.
They're definitely like Tampa Bay Rays making
Right.
those trades. You're like, I wonder why they made this trade. Like with Adam Eaton, they sent him to the Nationals. They got prospects,
And they're panning out.
and they're finally making those moves. So it's going to be very interesting with the White Sox. But yeah, with Tim Anderson, he definitely had a better year. That average, you cannot complain. You have the best average in the AL with all that talent around.
For a shortstop, man, I love that stat line.
Yeah, so if he can recreate this year, man, the White Sox are going to have some fun this year. So who do you have at your number 7 then?
My number 7, I got Javier Baez from the Cubs.
Okay, not bad. I do not have on my list.
Okay, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of talent in this league.
There is.
So, he's strung together a couple of really solid seasons. 2-time All-Star, Silver Slugger Award winner, World Series champ. Last season, he dealt with some injuries, but he still managed to put up a .281 batting average with 29 home runs and 85 RBIs. So I'm expecting him to do another solid year of that and maybe even get a Gold Glove this season. Maybe he works on his defense.
Yeah, only time will tell there with the Cubs. Now the Chris Bryant scenario he didn't win his arbitration, so he's there for at least 2 more years. Will they trade him and will they not? But apparently he said he's willing to resign now. And then the rumor was Arenado trade. I'm like, so what is going on with the team? But it's hearsay. But like I said, I think he's one of the pieces that is very in his contract, if I remember correctly, because all of them contracts are up the next 2 years. So the Cubs' times are running out if they don't get to re-sign some of these players.
I mean, they won a championship in 2016? I think they're
they
okay.
won there. Like I said, if they want to try to win another one together, it's going to be this year.
Yeah, you're right.
If not, people are going to start slowly leaving. So, like I said, he's had some injuries. We'll see what he can do this year. But, they still have a stack lineup. Their one, I think, downfall with the Cubs has been their pitching the last couple of years. We'll see what their new manager does.
Yep.
We'll see what Grandpa does from being catcher for that World Series team to now being the head honcho. So, yeah, we'll see if he can increase his stats, maybe make my list next year or whatnot. So,
or not.
Yeah. So, we already talked about my number 7. So, who is your number 6?
We talked about my number 6. I had Trey Turner at my number 6.
So, mine's Willie Mays Adams. I know it's like Adam Mays. I'm terrible.
What teams do you play on?
He plays for the Tampa Bay Rays. He's another prospect that came through the organization of their many prospects.
Willie Adams.
Yeah.
We'll just call him Adams.
But 20 home runs, 52 RBIs. He's a very good defensive shortstop. And the only thing I wanted him to get up is his average. He only had 254 last year, but he did have a 4.2 WAR last year.
And he's young. He's just 24. So like I said, I expect these guys just to get better.
Yeah. Very high level prospect. When he's coming up, met him once through here in Norfolk. Very fast speed. I'm like, when I saw him, he kind of reminded me a little bit of Trey Turner with the speed. So I'm like, okay, he's one of the fastest shortstops. He's that kind of, and then he got his chance with the Rays, and he hasn't really stopped since.
All right, well, we'll keep an eye out for him.
Yeah, so that was my number 6. You already said your number 6, so we're at number 5 then.
Number 5.
Who do you have?
I have Fernando Tatis Jr. for the Padres.
I don't have him on my list.
All right, well, Fernando Tatis Jr., a.k.a. El Nino. He's just 21 years old. Dude's got talent. His rookie season, he batted .317, 22 home runs, 53 RBIs, finished 3rd in the Rookie of the Year voting.
With missing time.
Yeah, with missing time.
Why I mean, he put on my list because of the time he missed. I kind of forgot about him because he missed almost the end of the season.
Well, I expect him to crush it for years to come, man. I mean, he's going to be turning some heads this season.
Well, yeah, I remember when Padres signed Manny Machado, he wanted to play shortstop. I'm like, well, when they said Padres, I'm like, they have a top prospect. Like, what are they going to do with him? Like, and then Machado decided to go to third. So, but yeah, he is definitely the centerpiece around that Padres with Machado. If they end up trading Will Myers, because Will Myers kind of in that phase, but Eric Hosner's there, like definitely a stacked lineup.
And maybe they sign Puig.
Like, yeah, Puig may be that bet. Like, they're trying to get bets, so maybe Puig. But the thing I think was Will Myers, they're trying to save money, but maybe they can trade Will Myers for some salary relief, but we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, he's definitely has some talent, like you said. Finishing the rookie year vote with missing time, that like only time will tell if he can complete a full year this year, healthy, what his numbers will be. Unfortunately, he can't be rookie of the year, but he can try to go for that
That's
MVP
how you can go for
trophy.
MVP.
So, but yeah, and definitely with Machado, he has been like a mentor to him. So with having Machado as your mentor for a shortstop, which he kind of came up with, but you can't ask for any more details than that. So that was your number 5. My number 5 was Marcus Semien of the Oakland A's.
Okay.
33 home runs, 92 RBIs, 285 average, 8.1 WAR. It's that that team out there that somehow always put people together, and you don't really hear much about because it is Oakland.
Right.
They do play in a football stadium. That hopefully very soon they're one of the teams that finally going to get that to play. Well, technically they're not sharing the stadium no more since Oakland is going to Vegas this year, the football team, so they're going to be their own, but they're in the works of getting their own stadium finally. But he's definitely the bright spot, that hitter with the Oakland A's.
Yeah, I mean, he made the All-MLB second team this past season. He also got the Jim Catfish Hunter Award. I mean, the future looks bright for him, and hopefully he can keep it up.
Yeah. So we're at number 4.
Who do you got at number 4?
My number 4 is Trevor Story of the Colorado Rockies.
All right, I got Trevor Story at my number 2.
Okay. So Trevor Story had 35 home runs last year, 85 RBIs, just shy of that 300 mark for average at 294, with his WAR coming in at 6.4 last year. And it's really, everyone says, Colorado, that power, but he's been consistent in his career since getting that call up with his power and stuff.
Yeah, man. Trevor Story, a.k.a. Story Time. I feel like he's coming into the prime of his career. He's been an all-star the last 2 seasons. He's won back-to-back Silver Slugger awards, and he was in the MVP discussion as well. Like you said, his batting average is pretty good. I feel like someone better go get his floaties because this dude's been going deep. Yeah. He's been staying in the deep end. He's the fastest shortstop to reach 100 home runs.
Yeah, I remember his rookie year, all those home runs he was hitting. It was like a great story because Trevor Story.
And I think he crushed it in spring training, right?
Yeah,
and then carried it over to the big leagues. He wasn't expected to make team, I don't think.
Yeah, so consistently he's been that guy. I had just a few people in front of him. But yeah, that's why he came in my number 4. Like he's right there. Like really like. Some of these guys in the top 4 or 5, like they're right with each other. There's only slight margins, but and people preference. So, who was your number 4 then?
My number 4 is Francisco Lindor.
Wow,
from the Indians.
He was your number 4.
He's my number 4.
He's my number 1.
Number 1, huh?
Yep.
Wow. All right. Well, I mean, let's get into it. So I think Francisco Lindor, aka Paquito. He's another great player. He could be looking. For a new home, as his status with the Indians is unclear right now.
I think the biggest thing with the Cleveland Indians is they know he's gonna want that 10-year, $300 million plus deal because he is that talented and he deserves probably that money. But I don't think by then they probably might be rebuilding or something, and they're not gonna want to pay that player when they can distribute the money elsewhere. So it won't be surprised if they do struggle this year. He gets traded at the All-Star at the trade deadline, because that means it's about time for his most value. If they do decide to trade him, it would be this year because you have a whole year control over him. So compared to a rental, he's a rental plus, and then that team can sway him and then re-sign him to a deal there. But as a switch hitter hitting 32 home runs, I mean, 74 RBIs, 284 average. He did take a step back a little bit last year, but defensively on the field and on the base runner, and then that switch hip capability is why I have him at my number 1.
Yeah, I mean, ever since finishing runner-up for the Rookie of the Year, he's been an all-star every single season and in the MVP discussion as well. I mean, any team's going to be lucky to have him. I mean, I don't think he'll have an issue finding a new team if he needed to. So why do you think the Indians are going to shop him? You think it's going to just be because of a rebuild?
It all depends. Like I said, like they 94 games last year, they won. They didn't make the playoffs. With trading Corey Kluber, but they do have some nice pitching. It's only time will tell what they're going to do with that team. And like I said, if they slump, it's like they're going to look at it like, look, we have a year and a half left. We know what he's going to want. We can't afford this. Do we go ahead and do this now, get some prospects that could help us out in 2 years for less money? It depends on who needs a shortstop, who wants that bat.
Yeah.
It's going to come down to that in the playoff hunt, because if you think about some of the playoff teams, they kind of all have a shortstop. So it's like, or does someone get hurt? Like, for example, Dodgers 2 years ago when they lost their shortstop, that's when Machado got traded because they wanted to replacement, make that run. Of course, they went to the World Series and lost. I can see something like that, but then this be a little bit different because he has an extra year of control,
right?
Where Machado was a rental. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with his career this year, what Cleveland does. So 2 years left, that talent, he's going to get up there in money.
All right, so call it now. Do you think he's going to be traded this year or not?
If I was a GM, I probably would.
Okay.
We definitely struggled in the first half.
Would you hopefully get some prospects or somebody established?
I'd probably get prospects or like right there close.
Okay, I agree.
If we were like, teetering and like, okay, I want someone who could probably help us next year. Maybe I go out there, find the piece I need. Maybe a different starter that's going to be out there possibly because, there's going to be some starter maybe out there. Or like I said, I think like for Greinke, for example, Greinke has 1 year deal left. I can say like maybe I can bring Zach Greinke in to kind of help our organization. Where if we just miss the playoffs or we like, for example, if they slump and they trade him and then they do better and like, okay, we're a few pieces missing now. But yeah, like if someone offered me a couple prospects and it'd be hard to turn it down. Especially like I said, I might lose them in 2 years anyways for nothing. Might as well get something for him now.
All right. Well, let's move on.
So that was your number 4.
My number 4, yep.
So we're at number 3. I have Torres from the Yankees.
All right.
Who do you have him?
I do not.
Really?
I feel like maybe my list had too many Yankees on it as it was.
Yeah. But 38 home runs, 90 RBIs with that Yankee lineup. Only thing with me was his average probably could be a little better, but it's still 278. He had 3.9 WAR. He's been one of the better prospects coming up, and then he has that power and of course he's playing at Yankee Stadium, so we don't know if it's tainted, like we said with DJ Mayu earlier.
Yeah, man. Like I said, the Yankees are talented. Everybody's going to get hits. It's going to be open season out there.
Yeah, and now they got the pitching. So, but yeah, so to like he's right beside DJ Mayu and all them, so he has definitely has the talent, the batting, and like I said, with that lineup, it's kind of open season to plug and play with that.
Absolutely. If anybody gets injured, I mean, they got plenty of talent to carry the rest of the team the rest of the way.
Like the bad spot with Carl Stanton last year, who knows if he was healthy and hitting, like what would happen.
Absolutely.
So only time will tell this year with that whole lineup and what Coach Boone has in store with that lineup and who he wants to play. So that was my number 3. And so who is your number 3?
All right, my number 3 is Xander Bogaerts.
He is my number 2.
Okay, great. What do you got? What do you know about the guy?
Definitely besides Mookie Betts, the bright spot last year with that team. 33 home runs, 117 RBIs. He batted 309, 5.2 WAR. Finally breaking out to that role, which he should be coming up to the prospects and that team. Fortunately, they didn't have a good year. Now with the whole manager change, Mookie now out the door. It's going to be very interesting to see what this Red Sox team does this year because does this mean they're rebuilding? Is more players be traded before the start of spring training or before the deadline?
Yeah, man. Xander Bogaerts, Bogey, he's another guy who can rake. I mean, he's over there hitting nukes. 2-time All-Star, 2-time World Series champ, 3-time Silver Slugger Award winner. Last season, he batted .309, 33 home runs, 117 RBIs. Not to mention, he also had 190 hits last season. He's getting into the prime of his career, so, I mean, if the Red Sox aren't going to compete, they might want to get rid of him, but he's definitely a beast. Somebody to keep on the team if I had him.
Oh, yeah. I feel like if anyone gets traded else, it's going to be like Adam Benintendi might get traded. He's definitely is that piece they need to build around, and he definitely established himself there. So, but yeah, great player. We'll see what the Red Sox do. Like I said, with trades, rebuild, whatnot. So, well, since we already know who my number one is, who's your number one?
Yeah, I'm not sure if you mentioned this guy yet or already or not. My number one, I have Marcus Semien. Do you already have him on your list?
Yeah, number 5.
Okay, so yeah, I don't know. I wasn't paying attention, so I'll just touch base on him again. I'm sure you already said these numbers, but his WAR was 8.1, third best in the AL. He had 747 plate appearances with 657 at bats. Given this huge sample size, he still managed to get 187 hits, batting .285, 33 home runs, 92 RBIs. Slugging percentage was .522, which did well enough to earn him a third place finish in the AL MVP race. I expect him to be in that conversation again this year. Based on last season, he earned the number one spot in my opinion. Arguably the best season of his career last season. Can he keep it up? He's been top 5 in most offensive categories. I think, where'd you have him on your list?
Number 5.
Number 5. So yeah, top 5. Like you said, anybody in the top 5 can be, advanced to the next spot. They're all pretty tight.
Yeah. Like I said earlier with him, I think the biggest thing with him, he plays in Oakland.
Plays for the A's, yeah.
So he doesn't get that much, play time and stuff. But he's definitely someone to watch. And if Oakland can do anything around this guy, is definitely the centerpiece around that Oakland A's team.
All right. Well, with that being said, let's go ahead and go through our top 10 review.
All right. So at shortstop, my number 10 was Ahmed Rosario, Trey Turner at 9, Tim Anderson at 8. Polanco at 7, Willie Adams. Marcus Semien at 5, Trevor Story at 4, Torres at 3, Bogaerts at 2, and then Lindor at 1.
All right, in my top 10 shortstops, I have at 10, Jorge Polanco, number 9, Corey Seager, 8, Tim Anderson, number 7, I got Javier Baez, 6 was Trey Turner, number 5, Fernando Tatis Jr., at number 4, I have Francisco Lindor, number 3, Xander Bogaerts, 2, Trevor Story, and number 1, Marcus Semien.
All right. So now we're getting to our third baseman. So, oh man, third base, that hot corner.
The hot corner.
So at number 10, I put Manny Machado.
Manny Machado. Unfortunately, Manny did not make my list this year.
So, got that big contract last year and had a little bit down year, but not bad. 32 home runs, 85 RBIs, 256 average, 3.1 WAR last year. I think the biggest thing with him was that getting the average up, he'll definitely be right back into the top 10 third basemen.
Yeah, he had to adjust to a new team, new field, new everything.
Especially going all the way from East Coast to West Coast.
Yeah.
Which he had a little sample size playing with the Dodgers, but like we said, Petco is not a hitter-friendly park. It's West Coast, balls die out there, but somehow Mr. Bartolo Colon hit one out of there. But hey, Petco's definitely a different part. Machado, he wanted shortstop, but he's a third baseman. Always that defense, those plays in the Orioles all those years was magical. Throwing out almost by the foul line, it's ridiculous. But that talent is definitely there. And then with that team, like I said, they need possibly get a center fielder. We'll see if they go after Puig. They're in the right direction. Machado was a nice piece to add to that hot corner. So that is my number 10. Who is your number 10 then?
All right, so my number 10 is we've been talking about this team a lot tonight. From the Yankees, Gio Urshela.
Do not made my list.
Okay, funny story about Gio is he got traded to the Yanks in 2018 for cash considerations. And I guess when he was in AAA, he worked with Phil Planter, the coach for the Rail Riders, and I guess everything clicked because last season he batted .314, had 21 home runs, 74 RBIs. He's on a stacked team, so I feel like he can put up these stats again, and he should be a name that you hear often this year, I think.
Yeah, especially with the Yankees AAA team, they're always in either the championship game or in the playoffs. So either they got prospects, veterans down there, like that coaches know what they're doing. So, I think he probably had some motivation getting traded for some cash. It's no worse than someone get traded for bats. Like
I was just about to say that, man. You got traded for some bats.
Yeah, but with that lineup, maybe that field makes them better. Like we said, like with DJ Mayu, like that big jump. Right. Maybe being at Yankee Stadium half your season definitely helps. So if he puts it again this year, only time will tell if he can continue that direction.
Right. I mean, if you can have that kind of success in the pinstripes, I'm pretty sure you can play anywhere.
Yeah. So that was your number 10. So at number 9, I have Justin Turner of the Dodgers.
All right. I don't have Justin Turner on my list. This is interesting.
So, yeah, he definitely, he's always been consistent the last couple of years, finally, breaking out after
he left the Mets.
After up and down seasons between the Mets and then the Orioles, he finally found his spot in the Dodgers at third baseman. 27 home runs, 67 RBIs. He batted .290 last year with 3.7 WAR. Like I said, with that lineup out there in LA, like he's definitely, he was co-MVP a couple years ago in the NL championship series. So, and he has the talent. I'm kind of glad he finally put it together, but unfortunately not with the Mets. But hey, he was kind of blocked at third base with, old captain there. So
yeah, I don't got anything against Justin Turner. He's a great player. I just think the reason he didn't make my list is maybe it's because he's getting a little older in age, and I feel like there might be some regression this season. Yeah, but like you said, last year he crushed it. Yeah,
it's definitely he's towards his end, starting to scale off. So time will tell, especially the organization. So, but yeah. Solid year again. That's why he made my number 9 list. So who's your number 9?
My number 9, I have Chris Bryant from the Cubs.
He is my number 8.
He's your number 8? Okay, great. As you know, Chris Bryant, he's a well-known name. He batted .282 last season, 31 home runs, 77 RBIs. He's got a good track record, 3-time All-Star, MVP, World Series champ. I mean, I'm keeping an eye out for him. He could possibly be traded soon. I don't know.
Yeah, like now losing the arbitration where he has 2 years total, so he has this year and next year before he can become a unrestricted free agent. But the rumor is apparently he wants to extend now. Maybe he's realizing it's not a bad place to play. I don't know.
Right, the grass might not be greener on the other side. He might like it where it is.
Yeah, like I understand maybe he's a little bitter with the whole, waiting the day after he can't get that year. But hey, it's the rules. People do all the time. Unfortunately, you want to cash in, but yeah. So he made my number 8. That the home runs, the stats. A couple years ago, he was probably the best third baseman after that, the World Series run and stuff. He definitely can't establish himself. Little digression. Maybe it's overall because the Cubs, they definitely took that step back last year. That's why Madden left. They got Grandpa now at the realm. Like I said, what's that team doing? They might start trading players. They said their contracts are starting to expire here soon. So that's another team to watch out, like Cleveland. If they sink before the trade deadline, don't be surprised they start unloading pieces. So he was your number 9. Chris Bryant was my number 8. So who's your number 8?
All right. So my number 8 is Eugenio Suarez for the Reds.
All right, he did not make my list.
Like I said, this is crazy because we're not having a lot of the same people in this one.
Yeah.
All right, so the reason he's number 8 on my list, man, and probably why he didn't make your list is because I feel like he's the most underrated player on this list.
Okay.
Last season he batted .271 with 49 home runs, 103 RBIs. He just underwent shoulder surgery last week after injuring it in a swimming pool. He'll most likely miss spring training, but he should be good to go to the start of the season. I think the only person that had more home runs than him was Pete.
Okay. Oh, yes. Now I'm putting together. Yeah. I remember he hit this because they were like going back and forth there for a little bit.
Right.
Well, first, what was it? Trout went out with injury. Then he went out with injury. Yep. And then
Pete just got it done.
That Bellinger wasn't hitting them as fast as he were at the beginning of the season. So that's when, and I remember. Yeah, definitely the power is talent. Like I said, the Reds, it's going to be a very interesting team this year with all the pieces they added. And at third base, he did well. We'll see. The shoulder injury is going to be interesting. Like you said, swimming accident, he's going to miss spring training. So that means come April, he's going to probably be slow.
He's got to fast track it.
So he probably won't even get it going until probably May, and we'll see if he can pick it up, or who knows, maybe he'll get back sooner, get back to swing of things. So it depends on exactly. We'll find out more in probably about 2 weeks when he reports. He'll start probably working out. The team will know more. They'll probably say something. So
speaking of the Reds, what's up with Matt Harvey? Is he playing anywhere?
Last time I heard, he was signing a minor league deal with someone. I can't remember who. I think it was Oakland. Or he was working out for Oakland.
Okay. Just wondering.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back on track.
So that was your number 8, correct?
Yes.
So my number 7 player was Yoan Moncada.
Yoan Moncada. I really wanted to put him on my list. Unfortunately, he didn't make it, but I love the guy. He's great.
That top prospect from the Red Sox, he got the trade to the White Sox for Chris Sale. So, and his definitely first 2 years with the White Sox were definitely a step back. Now, since he's the third baseman, he's definitely finally put a year together. He hit 25 home runs, 79 RBIs. He batted .315 average with 4.6 WAR last year. The biggest thing for me was he finally got that average up.
Right.
Because he was definitely a strikeout person. He had that power he was swinging for, that young player.
Yeah.
He finally put it together last year, and I was very proud of him for that one.
Yeah, and he's just 24 years old, man. And like I said, another guy we're talking about from the White Sox.
Yeah, like I said, between the White Sox and Reds and Twins, they're putting these young teams together in a weaker division that it could be very interesting. And we all knew he had power. That Futures game when at Petco back in, was it 2016, MVP, like he had the power.
Yep.
Red Sox had him, but they need that pitching, so they traded the White Sox. He started AAA, like he did put together, and then finally last 2 years he has. So,
all right, man. So my number 7, I got Squirrel, aka Jeff McNeil for the Mets.
So the only thing, like, I couldn't put him at third base yet on my list because he played everywhere.
He did.
And most likely he is going to be the starting third baseman for the Mets. And if he does put a year and that's where he pretty much plays, then he'll probably be on my list next year.
Okay.
But just like I said, he just played too many positions, and the uncertainty if most likely he will only play third base because, but our outfield at the Mets are just too stacked. But yeah, great year. Unfortunately, that injury at the very end of the year probably cost him that batting title.
Right. I mean, and then not to mention he was probably overshadowed with what Pete Alonso was doing as a rookie. But anyways, Jeff McNeil's career batting average is .321.
Yeah.
I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, when he came up the previous for that September call-up, and I'm like, I remember I was like, who's this guy? And then I remember his weird bat, because that was the biggest thing when he first came up, where it's not a knob at the end. He has that regular long bat, whereas there's no knob at the end of his bat.
It was like tapered?
Yeah.
Huh.
I remember I was like, oh, because someone like, come take this bat. I'm like, wow, no knob, and the squirrel can hit with it.
Yeah, last season he was an all-star. He batted .318, 23 home runs, 75 RBIs. I really liked the guy. He swung at the highest percentage of pitches that were inside the strike zone in all of baseball last season at 85%. So, he knows the strike zone.
Yeah.
And he goes out there and hacks, man. He takes big daddy hacks.
Very much so. So, yeah, I do see him playing third base a lot this year. We'll see what Jet Lowry, if Mets do trade him, because I think you were paying him almost $20 million or 10, like some ridiculous. If he's just gonna be off the bench, and if he's gonna,
yeah, man, we got to get rid of that money and maybe even Cespedes. We got to do a lot of revamping.
So if he plays third base, every day our starting third baseman come season start, like, I think they said he's on track to start spring training. No normal, like everything healed correctly. He's been working out, so I am very excited for him this year.
Yeah, man, he's too good not to be in the lineup, so you got to put him
it
somewhere.
was always like, okay, he's playing left today. Oh, he's playing third today. It's like,
right, when you can hit like that, you're gonna play anywhere.
yeah. And I was very surprised when the All-Star reserves got announced. He got in it. I'm like, wow, because I figured DeGrom was a lock. With the Cy Young award from last year. I'm like, okay, he's gonna be a lock. Pete home run his race. I'm like, we'll see if they put him in as reserve. And then McNeil, I'm like, oh, we got 3. I'm like, okay.
Right. It's been a while.
Yeah. I'm like, okay. So that was your number 7, right?
Right.
So at number 6, I had Vlad Jr.
Oh, okay. Unfortunately, Vlad didn't make my list this time. He was on it.
Yeah.
And then I took him off, man. He was right there. I was like, hold on, let me reassess the situation.
Yeah. Not a huge sample size. 15 home runs, 69 RBIs, 272 average, 2.1 WAR. But anyone who watched the home run derby knows this kid has power.
Oh yeah.
And the reference with his dad, the swing, like the Blue Jays have some very young talent in the infield, so it's gonna be very interesting. But he has that power and
natural
the
power.
stuff that was sailing between the home run derby and then his few games up, and what he did in AAA and the minors was straight ridiculous. So that's why he made my number 6. I definitely can see him making that step this year, full season in the majors with the Blue Jays. And like I said, he's going to be hitting at Yankee Stadium and Fenway, a little bit hitter friendly for him. So he didn't make your list at number 6. Who's your number 6?
My number 6 is Matt Chapman from the Athletics.
All right. He didn't. I think he was borderline almost on my list.
Okay. So yeah, Matt Chapman WAR last season was a 6.7. He batted 249, 36 home runs, 91 RBIs, finished the top 10 in MVP voting the last 2 years, as well as back-to-back Gold Glove winner. He made the All-Star team last season. I don't see any sign of this guy slowing down, man. I mean, I know he's on the A's, but hey, this dude by himself is a beast.
Yeah, with like we talk about him and then Marcus Semien, like those two are definitely, that side of the infield is definitely a very bright spot for that team. And only definitely time will tell if they can put it together. And like, unfortunately, A's is like they call it like the minor leagues for like the Yankees and stuff, because they always had great players, and then they go to like the Red Sox or the Yankees and the bigger farms so they can pay them. And I just hope one day A's with Billy can put it together and make that team with their analytics, because they're Moneyball. They're one that kind of figure out early, but he's definitely very bright future. So that was your number 6, correct?
Yep.
So at number 5, I have the newly signed Twins, Josh Donaldson.
About time we're on the same page. I got Josh Donaldson at number 5
So he
as
had
well.
a great year in Atlanta with 37 home runs, 94 RBIs. Average definitely could be better at 259, but the 6.1 WAR. And with all that we said, this young talent around the Twins, adding that bat where, yes, he's older, third baseman, but hey, he can play that DH because he is in the AL. But like I said, NL might get it soon, but still he has that ability to go play DH.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, looking at my list, he is definitely the oldest one up here at 34 years old. I mean, last season he won the National League Comeback Player of the Year. He's had some great playing years in Oakland and Toronto for sure.
Yep.
The former MVP, like you said, he just signed a big contract with the Twins. So I expect him to show a little flash of greatness.
Oh yeah. Like we said, with that young team, it's almost like, we'll say, a year before he got there in Atlanta.
Right.
Where there's young talent, they have power, and he can put it in the middle of the lineup and hit people in, hit the power. So, but he said he bet on himself last year in Atlanta, signed a 1-year deal, which that was real early. It wasn't like he waited like some of these players are doing this year. Like, okay, I'll do a 1-year deal, prove myself. He was one of the first players to sign last year, which was real surprising for a 1-year deal,
right.
$20 million. Well, he bet on himself, and now he got his money this year with Twins. So that was my number 5, and so was yours. So at number 4, who do you got?
At number 4, I have Rafael Devers of the Red Sox.
I have him at number 4 too.
All right, we're on the same page again. All right, man, this kid, he's just 23 years old. He had a great season last year. He's been making huge strides offensively and defensively. I believe he batted .311, 32 home runs, 115 RBIs. He had 201 hits, and he was definitely an MVP race. I mean, needless to say, this guy's a stud.
Definitely. Like, this is a guy that Red Sox been waiting for to come up, and he definitely came with it this year. That average and home runs, like, I feel that's why they let Mookie go. Like, this is ultimately replacement for Mookie in the lineup. If he can repeat, he's definitely the MVP race.
If he can repeat that, he better be the MVP. Those stats
I mean,
are crazy.
like I said, the only biggest thing with Red Sox, what are they going to do? Are they
Right.
rebuilding, or they commit? Maybe they have a minor leaguer or something that can come up, and they don't miss a beat. So it only time will tell with this team. And but I said, with missing the manager, who knows what happens there? But like I said, finally coming up and then hitting those numbers, the 115 RBIs, over 300, you can't complain whatsoever.
Yeah, any manager would be happy to have this guy on their team.
So we're both at number 4 with him. My number 3 is Alex Bregman.
All right, well, there we go. We're 3 for 3 right now on the top 5.
So the runner-up to MVP, the AL last year, had 41 home runs, 112 RBIs, just shy of 300, batting average at 296, 8.4 WAR. The other thing, like we said with Altuve, is the cheating scandals thing. Can he prove it this year?
Right, and this is the reason I have him so low. I mean, I have him at number 3. He might have been higher, but I can't get past this cheating scandal. You know, he might have been my number 1, but like I said, I deducted cool points for cheating. You know, he is a young 2-time All-Star, 2019 Silver Slugger Award winner, voted second in the AL MVP behind no other than Mike Trout. I mean, but now that his team's under a microscope, can he perform?
Yeah, like he's definitely made that step every couple of years. With him, he was definitely a top prospect. He has made that step every year. So if he can continue this year, then there'll be no doubts about it.
Right. Close the book on the cheating scandal. Show us what you got.
It's probably, a little benefit that he knew what was coming, but we, like I said, we'll never know. They didn't answer no questions. They kind of like, well, we'll miss a beat, blah blah blah. But
all right, man. Now that we both had the same 5, 4, and 3, I can only imagine that we have the same 2 and 1. There's no way.
I think so.
It has to be. So let me know who your number 2 is.
My number 2 is Arenado.
We
switched
flip flopped.
Okay, I put
I'm
Arenado number 2. 41 home runs, 118 RBIs at 315 average, 5.7 WAR. Got that big contract last year, and he still kept the numbers right. And now, with the whole rumor, they're thinking about trading him now. This is definitely when teams like Lindor is going to hold out and not sign, let him taste the free agent market.
See what everybody else is signing for.
So now I think, not even that, I think is where he has a choice. Like he committed back to the organization. Something was lied to. Now he's almost ready to be traded now. Now they're on the hold for now. It's only going to be very interesting with Arenado, what the team does. But as a player, there's no argument. Like he's always like top 2 last couple of years.
And that's the reason why I have him at my number 1 spot. I mean, he's been killing it since he's been in the league. He's been an all-star and in the MVP race the last 5 seasons straight.
Yeah.
I mean, he's won a Gold Glove every single year he's been in the league. That's crazy. I mean, not to mention he's won the Silver Slugger Award 4 years straight before missing out last season. Dude is a beast.
Yes.
I mean, you can expect greatness when this dude touches the field, man. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the biggest thing, like you said, he didn't win Silver Slugger because the person I have at number 1 got Silver Slugger. But the good thing for Arenado, he's not in the NL no more. So, but yeah, Arenado is definitely all around guys. But so my number 1 and probably your number 2 is how we flip flop is Anthony Rendon.
Rendon, yes,
the brand new Angels third baseman.
Yep, one of my favorite off-season signings.
Yeah, watching this guy, burn us as Mets fans. But 34 home runs, 116 RBIs. 319 average.
I think he had 126 RBIs.
126, yeah. It's and then adding him to a lineup with Mike Trout and then now Jock Peterson.
Right, man. I'm glad the Angels are building a great players around Trout. It's about time.
Yeah, like they try to get Garrett Cole now. It's like, man, if they got Garrett Cole, what would that team be like now? Like if they got that that ace that they needed to. Unfortunately, they didn't. Or if they even got Strasburg, man, this team would be an AL West favorite automatically. Houston would be very like they're still going to be competitive. Like finally, like you don't want to waste that guy, Mike Trout, and then adding a bat like him. I was very happy for him. He will get paid. Ultimately, it was very hard for Nationals to pay both Strasburg and him.
Right.
They probably could try to make it work. Probably backloaded. I don't know what they could have done to try to keep him, but a solid signing. Great money year for him for that year,
Right.
And with the playoff push and in the World Series.
Well, like I said, man, I mean, Mike Trout is like a once-in-a-lifetime player. You can't just have him on your team and that be it. You have to make moves, man, because people need to see this guy play, and you need to be winning championships with that kind of talent. I mean, yeah, they definitely hit a home run with that signing of Rendon. I've been watching him his whole career play in D.C. I mean, he's the type of player who's not going to talk a lot, but he's going to go out there and play hard for you.
Yes. So, yeah, like very solid third baseman. He's been consistent in his career.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely been bettering his case for the MVP the last 3 seasons. Like you said, he won a Silver Slugger last year. I mean, I'm stoked to see him play with Trout. Sprinkle a little Ohtani and Pujols in there. We can't wait to see the Angels play.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's going to be playing with the guy who keeps winning MVP in the AL now. So it's going to be very interesting. Like, it could be a Dodgers situation, with Bellinger last year and then Muncy had a great year. They might feed off each other. So we'll see what Madden does this year with that lineup, like getting now Jock Peterson and, have Trout and adding, Anthony Rendon.
Right. If we get a chance, man, we need to go check out an Angels game for real.
They play in Baltimore in May.
I thought you said so. Yeah, we need to look into that.
Yeah, because this team is definitely with Jock Peterson. We'll figure out why they traded that, but outfield. So
might have to catch 2 games.
Yeah, but yeah, like only time will tell if Ohtani can put it together for and some of their not prospects, but pitchers they got on back end deals where they had a down year. Maybe they'll bounce back for them. And, maybe with Madden there, he maybe find that little tool to push him. And Trout wins, 4th MVP?
I'm not mad at it. I love Trout. He's
yeah.
my favorite player. I wish he played for the Mets.
So, yeah. Well, I guess let's go over our top 10 then.
All right.
So, at number 10 for me for third base, I have Machado. Turner at 9. Bryant at 8, Makata at 7, Vlad Jr. at 6, Donaldson at 5, Devers at 4, Bregman at 3, Arenado at 2, and Rendon at 1.
All right, and for my third baseman, I have at number 10, Gio Urshela. At number 9, Chris Bryant. Number 8, Eugenio Suarez. 7 is Jeff McNeil. Number 6, I got Matt Chapman. 5 is Josh Donaldson. 4, Rafael Devers. 3, Alex Bregman. 2 is Anthony Rendon. And then at number 1, I have Nolan Arenado. So, yeah, guys, I mean, if you have any input you want to tell us, definitely follow us on social media. I think we're on Instagram at AA Sports Podcast and probably some other platforms.
Yeah. So, next week, we get to talk about the complete outfield.
Yeah,
for our top 10
great.
positions. So please,
yeah, guys, if you like what we're saying, man, give us a follow. Hit us up with some feedback. We'd love to hear from you guys for sure.
Yeah, please let us know, and we'll catch y'all next week. All right, guys, thank you for checking out this episode. Please share us if you enjoyed this content. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at AA Sports Podcast. Catch y'all next week. Peace.
For the record, I'm done trying to make y'all comfortable. For the record, you ain't trying to grow, then it's done for you. For the record, lab on me going all the way. For the record, ain't trying to link, no time to waste. For the record, for the record, for the record, for the record, for the record. Been a little too nice for y'all. Now I gotta up price on y'all. Snake eyes on dice for y'all. Shoulders on ice for y'all. A6 all the hate. I won't get a ball today. Got lost in the ball and A's. I'm flipping the bars. I'm flipping the on record, off record. I still count wins when they got it. On record, off record. I let them take advantage. 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 Let them take